one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And I've just been told that John Kuiper didn't reapply. So I'm sorry to see him go. I thought John was a good member, and we're going to miss him. He'll find other ways to contribute. And because we need him, we're going to have Rich Shelton appointed to sit on this application, if that's okay with you, Richie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's why I'm here, if you need me.
Next item is the review and approval of minutes of the February 27, 2017 and March 20th, 2017 meetings. If there are no changes, I'll entertain a motion to approve those two sets of minutes as presented.
Motion to approve?
Thank you, James.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Richie. Any comment?
I abstain from the 27th.
Okay. So with Wayne's abstention for the 27th meeting in mind,
I think I'm going to abstain from the 30th because I wasn't here. I ran out in the middle of it.
the 20th.
20th?
Yeah,
20th, never mind.
that's right. You had a
Had
call.
a fire call.
Yep. So with those qualifications in mind, all those in favor of approving the minutes as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. The next item is the application for a special exception of Jack Dione, I hope I pronounced that right, and Mary Ann Standish. A public hearing for an application for a special exception from Section 32-234 accessory apartments of the Newmarket zoning ordinance to permit the addition of an accessory apartment above the existing garage. The property is located at 14 Woods Drive, tax map U1, lot 1-50 in the R2 zone. And I understand that all the abutters have been duly notified.
Yes, they have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Is there someone, the applicant or someone to speak on behalf of the applicant with us this evening? Yes, sir. If you'll just step up, and this is your chance to explain to us why we should grant the special exception, and we're happy to hear what you have to say, and then afterwards we'll open the floor for public comment. And we'll give you a chance to come back depending on what happens in public comment and respond if you think that's necessary.
Yeah. I talked with the town planner a few weeks back, and she said that accessory apartments are accepted with zoning board approval.
I'm sorry, you are Mr. Dione?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank
Sorry.
you.
I'm not used to this stuff.
That's all right, that's all right. No, go ahead.
But anyway, basically, there's a master suite now over the garage, and I'd like to convert it to an efficiency apartment. My daughter and son-in-law have a signed purchase and sale for the property, and they now live in Rochester. My daughter works for the Newmarket school system as a teacher's aide, and I'm trying to help them get out of Rochester. And the only way they can afford is, with an accessory apartment with the price of the property. So that's what I'm trying to help them get going.
So what's the current use of the space?
It's a master suite,
Can you?
bedroom.
Oh, okay.
It's a large bedroom with a huge jacuzzi tub and bathroom, toilet, and sink.
And the
What's the rent
garage?
going to be? It's better than my place.
So
The connector and the garage were added on, I believe, right around 1998. And the existing home has 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, which was built in 84, maybe? Yeah, I think 84.
And this is one of the bedrooms?
Correct. So right now, it's a 4-bedroom home.
I see. Are there any questions for the applicant before I?
The efficiency apartment will not have a separate bedroom, is that correct?
Correct. It's all one room.
Right, that's,
Well, in the new rules, there's an efficiency or a 1-bedroom, does it matter?
You just can't restrict it to 1 bedroom or efficiency. You have to provide the opportunity for a 2-bedroom if that's what the applicant wants.
That's what I thought.
So we're in compliance with the new
And the
state
new
law.
regulations, so.
That's right.
So basically, the efficiency aspect's a moot point.
with respect to this application.
Just clarifying, that's all.
No, good question.
If there's nothing else for the applicant right now, I'll open the floor for public hearing, and then he can come back if people have more questions. Okay, Mr. Down, you can take a
Thank
seat
you.
for a moment, and we're going to open the floor for public comment. Any butters or folks who want to comment on the application one way or the other, we're happy to hear you. If you can just tell us who you are and where you live.
Okay, I'm Terry Schottmeyer. I live at 15 Riverbend Road, so I abut this property. So if you're facing the property to the left, and I would be most affected as far as parking and lighting. So my concern, I'm interested to know what the parking plan is for the accessory apartment and also any lighting.
Okay.
And that's, basically my concern.
Okay, we'll ask Mr. Dye on that question. Any further public comment? Please step forward. We're happy to hear from you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Janet Lovering. I live at 13 Woods Drive, directly across the street. I've been looking at that property for quite a little while, like 30 years, and something doesn't really add up to me here. All right, and if you can bear with me for a minute, you received a plot plan or a site plan that would look like this, absent the red marks.
Yes?
Okay? I will give you this, because I think it makes more sense what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Oops, sorry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Third time's a charm.
Okay.
And I see that you gave a copy to Mr. Diamond. Thank you
Yes,
for
I
that.
did. Yes, I did. My concern is that as you're looking at the plan and as I'm looking at the plan, the structure, the three segments of the structure of 38 feet for the main house, 18 feet for the breezeway, whatever you want to call it, and 24 feet for the garage, add up to 80 feet. The applicant claims that there's 30 feet on Mrs. Schottmeyer's side and 60 feet on Mr. Roberts' side. If you take the 80 feet for the structure and you add 90 vacant feet, the land, that adds up to 170 feet. The frontage of the property is actually 150 feet by this tax map and the original site plan from 1985.
Subdivision plan.
I'm sorry?
It's a subdivision plan,
Yes.
it's not a site. plan.
Well, okay.
Just for clarity.
And the measurements, as I've noted there, came from the tax card for the property.
Go over those measurements again. What did you?
Okay, well, as you look at the diagram, in red, I have the house is 38 inches long, or feet, excuse me, yeah, feet wide, okay? The breezeway is 18.
Yeah,
The existing garage is 24.
right.
Added together, that's 80 feet.
Well, you're adding wrong. You should be going from point to point. You shouldn't be adding, because this is at an angle.
Well, the angle on the site plan is a little bit different than the actual structure.
But still, to get an accurate measurement, you should be going from
There
point
is-
to point.
I
corner to
understand,
corner.
I understand what you're saying, but I think you're going to find, if you were to pull up a picture, that as you look at that house, it is pretty much a straight line, okay? And so
This isn't at an angle?
it is at a very slight angle.
Okay.
But as you approach from the driveway, it is not as much of an angle as portrayed here.
Well, I'm not there, so I can't. I did drive by, and I noticed it was at an angle.
So if you add to continue, if you add the 30 feet on one side and the 60 on the other, that's a total of 90 unused feet, added 80 used feet, it's 170, not 150. If you took into consideration that tiny angle that's there, you might lose it might add up to 78 or 79 feet.
So which of these measurements are you saying is wrong?
I'm not real sure which one's wrong, but if we all do the math, I think we can agree that this lot is pretty much square, and there are 150 feet frontage on the road. It almost looks like you're putting 6 gallons in a 5-gallon bucket. I can't explain it.
Meets the town setback requirements.
That's what it is.
It meets,
Does
is
it meet
it,
the side setbacks?
that's what I'm checking right now.
That's what we're checking.
That's
Look at
what,
the corner of the garage. What's the distance from the corner of the garage to the boundary line with the abutter?
it says here 30 feet.
Yeah. That's more than adequate
And he's
for
not,
zoning.
I understand that.
but just carry on. Ma'am. Go
I
ahead.
understand what you're saying, but it does not add up. How can you put an
It's a
80,
representation. What's really important here is what the setback is on either side and how, if it meets the town setback requirements. That's what's important.
Go ahead
Not,
and-
not
go
whether
ahead.
it's an accurate survey representation of what's there.
I'm
Go
not,
ahead and finish.
okay. That pretty much is my point or question.
Okay?
If there is an inaccuracy, it's either with the measurements of 30 feet or 60 feet, which I'm not sure, or I'm not quite sure about the tax card.
Tax cards are not legal representations
Test
of
cards are
surveys.
notorious.
They're not, you can't rely on them as
Okay.
being a
But
legal.
be all that as it may, my question is, do you have an objection to the application, a specific objection?
The only objection, we value the family neighborhood, the family atmosphere. And when I purchased here in Newmarket 30 years ago, plus, I wanted to move into a strict, a residential neighborhood. If I wanted to, multiple family homes and to live in that type of environment and atmosphere, I would have purchased somewhere else. That's my point.
Okay.
And again, I will echo Mrs. Schotmeyer's concerns about lighting and parking and the aesthetics of adding those things.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll ask Mr. Barron about that. Thank you. Any further public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Sharon Rondo, I live across the street from the subject property. And my primary concern has to do with parking, the number of spaces and where they're going to be. But also, during the presentation, there was a representation that the space above the garage was already a bedroom. According to the building permit application back in 1997, it was for a family room, not a bedroom. So I don't know whether you care about that or not. And also, on the tax card and vision appraisal, it's listed as a 3-bedroom, not a 4.
Okay, thank you. Any further public comment? Okay, seeing no further public comment, we're going to close the public comment portion of the hearing. I'm going to ask Mr. Dion to step back up to the microphone and tell us how many parking spaces are proposed, where they're going to be, and the size of that, and where they're located relative to the setbacks in the property, and also address for us any lighting provisions that are going to be changed. Are going to be any changes to the exterior appearance of the structure?
We're going to add one pass door on the left side of the garage. The only man door in the garage now is in the back.
Okay.
And as far as the lighting goes, there won't be any more lighting than any residential, a set of motion lights in the front, just your typical residential lighting. I'm not going to put a street light up or anything. And the parking I've got outlined on the plot plan is...
How many spaces are you proposing to add?
Just adding one space.
And how is that going to be done? Is that going to be paved? Is that going to be just...
My thought is crushed stone. I guess there's plenty of... I guess pavement wouldn't be a problem. There's still plenty of vegetation on the property.
Okay.
So either crushed stone or pavement, I haven't really figured it out. Actually, probably pavement so that you can use a snow blower on it.
It's difficult to tell from this sketch whether or not the proposed parking area is going to be within the setback or not. Is that?
Yes, it has to meet,
Require a variance, I believe. Or would it?
I'll make sure it's within the,
Our site review,
No,
it's part of our site review regulations, the setback requirements.
if the location is, the parking space shall be permitted within the setbacks if the location is over 50 feet from an abutting dwelling unit.
Okay. We don't have any evidence of that one way or the other.
No, we don't.
Would the proposed parking area be within 50 feet of your neighbor on that side?
I don't know, I'd have to physically measure it.
Okay, I think we would need to know that,
Mhm.
because if it is within 50 feet, that would probably require a variance.
Yeah.
If it doesn't meet that requirement.
Which would be a separate application. Can you explain the issue with the measurements here?
Not at all. I get this from the town planner here.
From the file, let me.
Yes,
verify.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, she didn't.
I
she
didn't
did-
draw it out for you.
Okay, no, no.
But the exterior, there's really no changes to the exterior except for adding a doorway. You're not
Correct,
adding new structure. It's the structure that's currently existing.
yes.
Is,
Your proposed additional parking area, that's for one unit or two unit?
One car.
Okay, you gotta have area for 4 cars.
Yeah, there's plenty of parking. My daughter and son-in-law only have one vehicle each.
Yeah, but you still gotta be able to have 4 parking places,
Mm-hmm.
whether you stack one behind the other in the driveway, but you gotta
oh,
show.
is the garage? This is above the garage.
Yeah, the
right?
garage is vacant. There's room for 2 vehicles in the garage.
Is there room for 2 vehicles in the driveway
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
without creating a new parking area?
yes. There's probably room for 6.
That theoretically we wouldn't need the
Yeah.
proposed, the other parking, or the proposed parking.
Proposed, yeah. So why would you need a proposed parking area?
I wanted to put it out there in case, just to have a clear driveway, so nobody's in nobody's way.
Now, your neighbors mentioned that the dimensions include a breezeway. Is the garage actually attached to
Yes.
the house?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
I took a picture. I found a picture.
Yeah.
I went and took a picture of it, and then I just put it on the file.
Mr. Shelton took a picture of the property. That's what we're looking at.
Yep.
Just so we
Okay,
have it in the
just-
record, what it
Thanks, Rich.
looks like. Is there currently lighting in the driveway? You have like a motion sensor or some kind of a light on the driveway now? Or you gonna
I
add
don't
one?
know that. I've only been there twice.
Oh.
I would assume there is, but I don't know.
So you're acting on behalf of the owner. I'm confused.
I haven't purchased the property yet. The closings, that's why I had to get a letter from her saying that I could be
I see
here.
what you're
They
saying.
submitted us a letter.
You're getting ready to buy the property.
Yeah, the closing is set for June 1st.
Okay. All right. Yep. Any further questions or comments?
Well, I guess I'd like to make sure we verify that the parking isn't within the
50 feet of the
50 feet
neighbor
of-
on that side, yeah.
I don't know whether that, I mean, he has adequate parking now.
Yeah, you could take it
Doesn't
right
even
off the
need
table.
it.
He doesn't even need it.
Right.
So that would make that issue go away.
That's right.
Right. kind of off the table now, so.
Would you be willing to remove that portion from the application?
The parking, the
Yeah.
proposed, yes.
Anything further for the applicant? Everybody turns to Richie with expectation. Professor Shelton, Dr. Shelton?
Well, when I look over the whole project, there's nothing in the zoning that restricts us from approving this.
No,
So moving ahead, I don't see any reason why this is not approved.
correct. I don't see any reason for us to deny it. He meets all the
Right.
criteria.
There's no reason for denial from the current zoning.
It's very similar to the Harder application, which is what we had last
From the
time.
newer zoning. And I can read a statement of fact if you wish, which I always do.
Yes, sir? As long as,
Do we have a choice?
You always wish.
as long as you remember to add that conditioned on the proposed parking will not be, is no longer part of the application, something to that effect.
Well, I'll read what I got, and then if you want to add to it, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. From the current zoning now, is my statement of facts. The applicant has stated that the accessory apartment will be an efficiency apartment without a separate bedroom, with approximately 380 square feet of living space, where the minimum is 300 and the maximum is 1,000 square feet of finished living space, whereas an accessory apartment will have one bedroom, where a maximum of 2 are allowed. One of the dwelling units will be owner-occupied. Space is available and adequate for 4 parking spaces, and by adding a door to the side of the garage, there will be no exterior changes which significantly alter the appearance of the structure from the street. Town water and sewer services to the site, and granting of the special exception would be consistent with section 32-5(1)B. To prevent this chapter from being duly burdensome on an unconforming single-family residential use, such single-family houses shall be permitted to be physically expanded and accessory structures added or expanded. As this efficiency apartment shall be contained entirely within the detached single-family residence with a door between the principal residence and the accessory dwelling unit, however, it shall not be required to remain unlocked. Adding of an exterior door to the side of the garage, this change will not significantly alter the exterior of the structure. The applicant has met the 6 prongs of the criteria and is consistent with section 32-5(1)B.
Second that, with the addition that the parking shown on the plans
Is
was,
currently adequate.
okay.
And therefore, no additional parking will be added.
So, and if we agree with that, I'll make a motion to grant the special exception from section 32-234 of the Newmarket Municipal Code by the applicant to permit the conversion of the existing area over the garage into an efficiency apartment. The property is located at 14 Woods Drive, tax map U1, lot 1-50 in the R2 zone.
Second the motion,
Subject to the amendment that
subject to the amendment,
no additional parking will be added.
correct.
And on that basis, that's the motion as I understand it. Okay? Further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. Thank you, please, for coming out. If you have problems with lighting at any time, I suggest you walk across the street and say to Mr. Dion, your light's shining in my window. And then I'm sure that he'll take action. Right, Mr. Dion?
Yes, we're very easy to get along with, trust me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. Any further new or old business to come before the board at this time?
Just a question, is anybody going to the planning meeting on Saturday?
I wasn't,
No, I don't think anyone,
I have kind of forgotten it,
a
but
couple of planning board members are going, I believe, Glenn Wilkinson.
Yeah, because it looks like it's the same,
Went to
same topics as when we went a couple years ago, a few years ago now.
2.
Yeah, a couple.
5, 7.
Seven.
A while ago.
While ago.
Back when Jerry was on the board.
Yeah. So I just throwing it out there.
I hadn't given it any thought, because I've been working 6 days a week, so. We probably should make some kind of a token appearance, though, shouldn't we?
We should.
It's in Concord?
Yes, it's in Concord, yes.
It's at the Grapponi Center,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. Are you going, Diane?
I'm going to Florida.
I thought you just come back from there.
If folks want to go, I'll drive.
Okay.
I'm happy to carpool. If people want to go, I'm happy to drive. So let me know, and we'll do our best to make an appearance. Any further new or old business to come before us at this time?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you, we're adjourned.
I
We're still on the air.